Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to the Center Stage interview powered by Boardshire, an initiative by RightSource Global. Center Stage interview is a podium for people like you and I to exchange our thoughts, experiences, and ideas. Today, we have with us Mr. Manish Aggarwal. Manish Aggarwal is a seasoned finance and HR professional with over 25 years of experience driving operational excellence and organizational growth. His extensive tenure with renowned organizations like IBM, American Express, RBS, NatWest, and National Australia Bank has equipped him with deep understanding of global business operations. As a transformational leader, Manish has a proven track record of establishing and managing global capability centers. We will call them as GCCs going further, overseeing finance, shared services, corporate finance, and HR operations. His experience includes successful scaling organizations, optimizing resources, and implementing strategic initiatives. Hello, Manish. How are you
Hello,
doing?
good morning.
Welcome to your Center Stage interview.
Thank you. Good morning, Madhulika. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thanks, Manish. So let's kick off with your first question, Manish. So, with your experience in board management and strategic planning, what practices do you find essential for translating the high level business strategy into actionable plans across multiple functions? And how do you ensure that all teams stay aligned with this, overarching goals?
Hmm. Thank you, Madhulika. That's a great question because in our roles, dealing with board is always the highest priority. So now, as the CFO of the company, ensuring that the high level business strategies translate into actionable plans, it requires focus, structured and collaborative approach with the business. So some of the key practices that I have followed and which has helped me through this process, the first thing I'll say is drive alignment. And what I mean here is what is it that the board is expecting, and how do I communicate the board's expectation to the business, to the stakeholders to make sure that we have a common understanding of the expectations of the board, of the strategy that we have to achieve. And then second is engaging these stakeholders to create business plans. What is it that they are going to do to achieve these business strategies? And once these business plans are finalized, we again collectively agree on the objectives, on the KPIs, on the success measures, that what are the plans they are going to do, what are some of the success factors, how will we measure that whether we are on the right path or not. Now, it's very easy till this point. What is most important here is that most of the times business plans may not go in the intended direction, and that's where it comes, the most important interventions come into picture, that how do we make sure that we bring business plans back to the right path. Does it require change, does it require different intervention? And all throughout this approach, we need a very, very collaborative working environment, very collaborative approach. And lastly, a very regular review of the data, of the reports, to make sure that everyone is on the same page, we are completely aligned. Are we moving in the right direction or not? I think some of these steps has always helped me to bring board strategies into operational plans and make sure that all the businesses and functions are fully aligned on what we have to achieve.
All right. Thank you, Manish. So, with your experience in setting up and leading GCCs, what are some of the most challenging aspects of establishing and scaling the GCC? And what strategies did you find most effective in building a strong functional integration and achieving the operational excellence at the same time?
Sure. Um, Having worked with almost three GCCs and more than 20 years, I think the first and the foremost challenge that I have observed is what is the purpose of setting up this GCC? I mean, is it about cost saving? Is it about leveraging the talent that is available in India? Or is it about time zone? Or it could be combination. So I think the first and the foremost thing is we need to be clear on the purpose, because that drives the culture, that drives how we are going to take it up further. The second thing where I focus is what is the operating model, because the operating models have evolved over the years. When it started, it was more like a transaction processing. You get requests, you get orders from onshore, and you follow that. But over the years, it has then moved into a team extension model and then full ownership model as well. So we need a very clear view that what is the operating model that the GCC want to implement. And the third piece is the location. um, if you see, GCCs predominantly started with Gurugram and Bangalore, but now newer locations like Hyderabad, Pune, Chennai, tier two cities like Jaipur and Chandigarh, they're also coming up very well. So, what is going to be our location strategy? I think these three are the biggest challenges that I have always faced whenever we are in discussion in setting up GCC. Now, in terms of operational efficiencies, my first preference on day one is always to replicate the processes the way they were happening onshore. And on day one, just bring them, do it as they were doing, deliver as per their expectation. Do not make any wholesale changes. And once we are in that position, that's the time you rope in your transformation team. That's the time you rope in your talent and then bring transformation. Uh, you know how the talent in India over the last so many years have done so many transformations. You know, use that knowledge, do the transformation, bring operational efficiencies, and then you are actually delivering as per the expectations of the GCC. So day one, I would never touch processes. I will not try to bring any improvements. Day one is just deliver as it is, and then work towards transformation.
All right, thank you, Manish. I couldn't agree more with you. I think it is very important that we actually answer the why of everything first before going into what and how of things.
Absolutely.
For next question, Manish. So, in your experience as a strategic finance and operational leader, what do you consider the most crucial factors are for driving sustainable growth? So, I mean, sustainability is everywhere now, and how to create value in these complex and competitive environments.
Absolutely. Madhulika, a lot has changed in my 20, 25 years of experience. The way we started versus the way things happen today. Uh, I think technology and digitalization, they play a key role. When we started, it was there was no AI, there were no transformation tools. But today, AI, machine learning, they play a very critical role. And as a CFO, uh, I need to make sure that both me and my team, we are fully equipped with the latest technologies that are there in the market, and we make the best use of those technologies to drive sustainable growth. The other thing is agile financial planning and forecasting. So you have to be always look at your financial planning. There are market dynamics which are changing every day, and then you have to ensure that your financial planning is actually geared up to adjust to the market changes. I mean, very simple example in GCCs is the foreign exchange fluctuations. We've seen that the currencies, like in my last role, Australian dollar, it fluctuated more than 10% in a year's time, and 10% fluctuation means a big change to your budget, to your delivery. So you have to be very agile in financial planning and make sure that you can forecast, you can predict what's going to happen, and then you have the right tools to make sure you go through that situation. And the last one, which is in my view, which has evolved over the last few years, is strategic partnerships. Now you see all the tech startups which are coming up. There's so much which is happening in the technology space. So how do we first ensure that we know what's happening in the industry? So joining some of these uh, forums like NASCOM, SHM, and to make sure that what's happening in the industry, we keep ourselves updated. And then on top of it, how do we get into some of these strategic partnerships which help us to leverage the industry best and create sustainable growth for the company? I think some of these things is what I've been practicing and has really helped my organization to drive sustainable growth.
All right, thank you so much, Manish. Now, moving on to your experience as a CFO, right? You've been an ex-CFO of a very well-known, renowned company. So, how do you view the evolving role of a chief financial officer in today's dynamic business landscape? And what
Mhm.
qualities or skills do you believe will be essential for CFOs to thrive in the next, say a couple of decades or a decade from now on?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, as a CFO or as any finance professionals, we have to simply come out of the mindset that we are here only for financial reporting and financial accounting. No, no, that's not the way. If we have to operate, that's not the way CFOs have to operate. A CFO is now an equal partner in the business strategy, driving strategic leadership of the company. So, in my view, and this is what I've been doing, is that how do I engage with all the CXOs and drive what is the business strategy? And this requires to wear a hat which is much, much broader than finance. So we need to have a deeper understanding of the business. Sometimes as finance, if you go only as finance, you are unable to see and understand what challenges business is facing. But once you are able to engage with the CXOs and understand the business challenges, your mindset changes, your thought process changes, and you also start thinking in the business in the right direction and help business to navigate those through those challenges. So I think that's the first and the foremost thing, that the CFO has to go beyond finance and look into the business as well. The second thing, which I mentioned earlier as well, is technology. It is such a big enabler. Again, so many tools available in the market, AI, machine learning, they are bringing so many changes. You know, in my 25 years of experience, where we started from a manual accounting into something called Lotus Smart Suite, which was before MS Office was there in place. In 25 years things have evolved, and now it is about AI, machine learning, deep learning. How do you ensure that these tools, you are aware of it, your team is fully aware of it, and you make best use of these tools? Okay, so the third piece, which is again very evolving field, is the risk management. Okay, now there's risk in everything we do, but that does not mean that we stop doing those activities. So, how do we first ensure that the risk is within appetite? And then, if it is beyond appetite at this point of time, how do we mitigate and bring it within appetite? So, some of these things, I think these are very important in today's environment, and these skills, rather further development of these skills, is what I expect every CFO to have to deliver over the next decade or so.
Well, thank you, Manish. I mean, while you were talking about the role of CFO and everything, we I would like to put a small, note here. We work with a lot of startups, know how startup works, and the first thing they usually do is go for a CTO, right? Because they all revolve around technology and stuff.
Right.
I think CFO is as important as CTO, so that they understand, how, or even if they're bootstrapping from the beginning, it's very important for them to understand, their financial, the strategy and stuff before they get into the next level of, go to market strategy or everything, right? So I think CFOs play a very crucial role, not just in, big corporates, but also, small startups.
I completely agree, Madhulika. I mean, I have, engaging with stakeholders, as I mentioned, going beyond finance has always helped me. In one of my previous organization, in my finance role, the way I supported the business, I got the best support employee award. That was long back, but the only reason it happened is because my thought process was always beyond finance, understanding the business challenges and supporting them through those challenges.
I'm very sure about that, Manish. Thank you so much for throwing light on the finance side of things. Now, moving to the other side of the coin, I think you have successfully led large HR operations. I mean, this is completely two different things, right? So, overseeing the entire employee life cycles from thousands of employees, I guess, if I'm not wrong. And what approaches did you find most effective for driving continuous improvement and employee satisfaction? And I think that is a very challenging thing in HR operations, especially during periods of organizational change. So, what do you think, Manish, about this?
It was one of the most interesting phase of my career, Madhulika, when I moved from finance into HR. Um, and let me be honest, I was a big critic of HR in the sense that when you raise a request, the turnaround time was very poor. The response quality was not as appropriate as you would expect. And I always thought if I get an opportunity, I'll change it completely. Now, and I did get this opportunity, which was fantastic. Uh, so when I moved there, the best thing that I had with me was a clean slate. I mean, I am coming from a finance background, and anything happening in HR space was absolutely new for me. So everything was up for challenge. I will not take things for granted. Something is happening for last 10 years, fine, happening, but why? Questioning that why it is happening, and then every process that I looked into, Madhulika, and when I challenged it, either I was able to eliminate that process, or I was able to transform that process, or I was able to, merge that process to bring so much operational efficiencies in the way HR was working. And that's simply because I'm not carrying any baggage with me. So that's the first thing which helped me. Okay. The second thing which helped me in my role was, as I said, I was a big critique of HR when I went there. um, I looked at the SLAs. They were very, very relaxed. We'll take a week's time to respond to a query, and we will close it if the employee has a query further. They will raise a new query, and that was absolutely not acceptable to me, because the way things are working is we need to have an answer which is right first time. We need to make sure that we close the query right first time, and we need to make sure that the response goes within 24 hours or even earlier. Some of these basic things that you expect from any customer service. When you call a bank, or when you go for any customer service, these are the basic things that you expect. And I just applied the same logics in my team, and I could see a major turnaround that happened. And the third piece which helped me was a bit of aggression that I brought into the role. Um, in the HR world, a lot of people were working for so many years, doing the things in the same way, not changing anything. And when I brought that aggression, especially coming from finance background with so many transformations that we have done, I think people enjoyed. While initially they were a bit hesitant, but when they started looking at that things are moving, they started aligning with me. They also started enjoying working with me. So those things really helped me in my role as HR. And in fact, if I can add, the one of the thing that I went through, not a very pleasant experience through. This was during COVID. We lost more than 20 colleagues at that point of time, and our insurance process was a blunder in the sense that the families were already suffering. We were only enhancing their sufferings because of the way, some of the nominations are not in place, and if nominations are not in place, then you even need so many more documents. That again gives you a lot of insight that how you can simplify processes. There's so much that you can do in the name of transformation. So again, I ran a project which was hugely successful, and which really helped everyone in the longer run. So very interesting, almost 18 months in HR, but really, really loved it.
Yeah. Manish, I really love the way that you have, got your experience from finance and implemented in HR. I think I need to take some tips from you and see how we can do those at our firms. Thanks so much, Manish. I think we are almost to the end of your center stage interview. So before we call it, off, I would like to understand, quick words on how was your journey of becoming a certified independent director with Boardshire and RightSource Global?
It was, I mean, when I thought I want to become an independent director, I was looking at what is the best way of doing it. Now, searching through and Googling or talking to friends, there were multiple options you can do, but it's not only about passing the exam. It's about bringing a wealth of knowledge, understanding what all goes behind the door, understanding what's happening in the board. And that's where, your organization really helped me. The very detailed course that you offered, the curriculum that you offered, when I went through it, it really helped me. There were so many, while again I've been dealing with the board for so many years, but still there were so many things which I learned through your course. So it was a great experience. Plus, it's not only passing exam, some of the things that you do, like holding this interview, creating that profile. I think that holistic work that your organization is doing really, that was the turning point, that this is where I want to invest, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to build up my career as an independent director. So that's the driving factor to come up to your organization.
Thank you so much, Manish, for your kind words. I think our journey just begins here, and I hope together we'll be more successful, and soon we'll see you as an independent director in one of your organizations. Thank you so much for your time today, Manish. It was pleasure
Thank you.
at your center stage interview. Thank you all for watching the center stage interview of Manish Aggarwal. If you really like these videos and want to understand more, please follow us on LinkedIn and understand more about what we do at Boardshire and RightSource Global. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Madhulika. Thank you, everyone. Bye.